Right across from the tire place is an exhaust shop. I stopped over there last week just to kind of get an idea of what we were looking at, try to bounce some ideas around about X pipes or not, or mufflers or glass packs. He kind of hinted that this was gonna be over $1,000. We're not doing that. I ordered from Amazon a bunch of pre-bent pipe in a bunch of different configurations. They're flared on one end and straight on another, so that way if you run into something you can slip fit it together and then we can weld it up, of course. You can cut these at any spot here to get kind of what you need. And I have two of these. There's two kits together, so we've got 4 pieces of this long pipe and a bunch of 90s and other things. Let's go underneath the car. I'll kind of show you where we're starting and where we're trying to end, and we'll see how this all works out. But I think for 230 bucks, we got pipe, a new O2 sensor, and a muffler, and chrome tips. All right, so we're underneath the car here. We can see that one exhaust manifold goes up there. There's a crossover pipe that goes over to the other bank. So one's on the left-hand side of the motor, one's on the right. And here is the O2 sensor. Both of these pipes kind of come together right here. And I don't know what this is. It looks like a catalytic converter, but I think we may just cut that off and start our pipe work right here by the O2 sensor bung. And we'll run our 2.5 all the way out the back. So I've already got rubber hangers in place. And as we continue to go to the back, this is where the muffler would go. Big open spot. I've already measured. The muffler should fit just fine in there. And hopefully 2 4-inch tips coming out of the muffler right where it used to be at the bottom part of the, focus right at the bottom of the bumper there. All right, well, let's get started. I'm just gonna have you guys in the background as we work. Ridiculous. So I think our first bend is going to go right here. We'll sandwich this pipe at the end. That way it meets this sort of oval shape that they did here. And this will turn onto the car. It already looks like if we use a short piece of pipe between there and there, we'll be aimed perfectly straight towards the back of the car. I don't think we want to do it here. It would be too far left. So we'll put a short piece of pipe and then see where we're at. we go. So it looks like I'm going to take this heat shield off. This was here because of that weird muffler thing. Gets kind of hot. This pipe shouldn't get that hot as it doesn't have a collection point. It's free flowing. So we 45'd out of the collector, 16 inches back. Got another 45. At some point we'll have to tack this together so it doesn't move. And then we'll pull it out, fully weld all the way around, except for this, which will be a little bit of a pain to get the MIG torch up on top of this, but we'll be all right. If you heard that, that's the wife coming home. 4.4 twin turbo. So here's a hanger here. We're gonna have to figure out how we're going to support this whole pipe. Obviously up front will work. Here I may just unbolt this bracket. It's 2 bolts. Move it over here to this side, and then we'll have this rubber hanger, which is perfect. And just use a small piece of wire to go through here and then tack it onto the exhaust pipe. I think what we're going to do is, as these joints come together, I'm going to label them 1, 1, 2, 2, and we'll put index marks on here so that way they don't rotate or we don't get the pipes flipped around. All right, you see the marks are on there. We can probably pull this down and give it a little tack. All right, as you see, we've got our marks right there, so we know that everything's lined up correctly. Put it on the floor, that way the offset, which is essentially what we made here, isn't out of alignment. Let's put just a tack on each side here. All right, we're gonna take that leftover straight piece that we cut the 16 inches off, and let's see if this gets us ever closer to the rear of the car. Nice. All right, somewhere in here we're gonna need to do, probably not a 90, but probably another offset. So we'll open up that other box and we'll offset over to here and then offset back towards the muffler. All right, 2 more offsets. It's not bad. Now we need the muffler. So we'll probably do the same thing here. We have to separate where that turns into the muffler to the input. So we'll cut this a little bit shorter and then extend this other 45 to get us into the muffler. Let's go see where the Amazon dude is. All right, we're just trying to mock all this together right now, trying to simulate a hanger here, make sure everything's lined up, coming out of that Y pipe at the front, running parallel to the back of the car, and we're going to try and figure out how we're going to angle underneath the rear axle, offset to get out the rear with the muffler. So hopefully this should hold everything sort of close. We don't want it to turn and move. Let's see what we got here. All right, let's take the jack here, move this to the rear. All right, so as you can see, we're kind of running under the car here. Let's get this kind of turned up a little bit. All right. We're gonna put our marks and kind of witness lines so we know where this goes. I think we should tack it. All right, we're gonna have to get creative here with a ground clamp. I don't have a magnetic one. Let's see what we can do. Oh, maybe that'll work. Let's see. Shows that that works. That's a ground. It's not a good ground, but it's grounded. We'll play with this a little bit. Actually, I think that's good. Right where our mark was is probably perfect. So again, we'll add 2 inches. That way it goes all the way into the throat of this reducer here. And then we'll get that fully welded. Fully weld all of these new joints that we have. Get it back in place one last time. And then we can do a final weld onto the header at the front, that Y pipe. And we're gonna need to call some hangers under here. Y'all didn't think that was gonna work. Get you over here on my portable welding table. Just go looking for any little pinholes that I may have missed, because we can't just, they make special welding jigs that like rotate the entire pipe as you weld so you can stay in one spot. We don't have that. So I'm just making sure that where we stopped and started and kind of stitched welded this together, that we didn't miss anything. I've welded a lot of things. This is the first time I've ever made my own exhaust system. I don't know if it technically counts. It's just tubing and a muffler. All right, let's see if this muffler just goes right in. Oh, we never cut the end off. Take it all back down. Now let's try and put the muffler on. Something like right there. All right, that should look good. All right, so I've got the muffler temporarily kind of secured there with some wire. And let's walk towards the front here, see what we got. I just have the muffler tacked on there. It's probably gonna be its final location, but come down underneath the axle and then run towards the front of the car where it connects back into that factory pipe right there. So we'll try and fabricate some hangers, get rid of this red wire. Let's see what she sounds like. Tell me what you think. It sounds like crap. Let me know. All right, so the only thing we got left to do on this video is wait for these tips to come, which Amazon's been messing around for 2 days now. Hopefully they'll be here tomorrow. I ordered 4-inch tips, which this is only 2.5, so they're gonna be kind of big. We'll see if that looks all right, or if not, come up with something else. But should look kind of cool having 2 big tips out the back. It is a V8 after all, so why not make it sound and halfway look like it's got some power. All right, as soon as the tips come in, we'll get back on it. You can see we got the O2 sensor bung welded in and wired up to the old connector.